Greetings everybody, Ben here from TheVirtualEconomist and welcome to a new video. I think we can all agree that TF2 is a pretty awesome game for a multitude of reasons. Believe it or not, I love TF2 not just for its trading economy, but also for its gameplay. And I think the one thing about its gameplay that really sticks out to me are the weapons of TF2. I love looking at games from the standpoint of a game designer, and I think TF2's weapons are examples of pretty ingenious game design. There are two main reasons for this, reasons why I think TF2's weapon system is just so damn wonderful. Number 1. TF2's weapons can be mixed and matched to create unique playstyles for each class. The fact that you can randomize a class loadout almost infinitely with different weapons and different styles of gameplay is pretty awesome. Within a certain class, there may be many different playstyles, such as in demo, you might have a demo knight or a standard sticky demo, making it harder to get sick of a single class. You can also combine like weapons in a loadout to create synergies between the weapons in order to give you a bigger edge against your enemies. Number 2. TF2's weapons are all side grades. This is so amazing. I cannot stress how awesome this is. Unlike in minigames where the user slowly unlocks better weapon upgrades or gets better stats for their weapons, all non-stock weapons are not strict upgrades from their stock counterparts. This means that whether someone has played 1 hour or 1,000 hours on TF2, everyone is theoretically on an equal playing field. One new weapon might have the upside of more damage, but it has the drawback of having a smaller clip size, making the stock weapon always strictly best. This might just be the single reason why TF2 has such a great new player experience. Someone doesn't just hop on their first game and think, well, of course I would get wrecked by that decorated level 99 assassin grade 5-star golden super magical legendary player. No, the person would beat you just because they're better at the game, not because they've unlocked the really high level upgrades. This system makes it both great for new and experienced players. The awesome part about these side grades is finding the moment when you can maximize the benefits of a weapon in a scenario while also simultaneously minimizing its downside. Each weapon has its niche in certain scenarios where it can be amazing, while also being balanced enough to be absolute garbage in other scenarios. This creates beautiful gameplay. You can find why I love TF2's weapons by taking a look at pretty much any weapon, but for a simple example of this, let's take a look at the backburner. On the surface, the backburner is a pyro primary, and it grants 100% critical hits from behind at the cost of a 150% air blast cost. This high cost means that you can only really activate the air blast once or twice before you run out of ammo. Thus, this weapon promotes a different pyro playstyle, one that emphasizes flanking the enemy's lines and taking advantage of the crits on people's backs, while being in a place where you really never have to use the air blast. You can even utilize the synergy of the detonator to get to harder to reach flank routes and get behind the enemy quicker. In certain scenarios, this might actually be quite effective so long as you remain unseen. However, in a 1v1 battle, the backburner pyro is at a huge disadvantage against a class like Soldier without the constant use of his air blast to deflect the incoming projectiles. Still, the flanking strategy might just be your best one, and I think the backburner winds up being a great example of a weapon that is amazing in certain scenarios while still being trash in others. Thus, the weapon is not a strict upgrade and is still far from overpowered. Anyway guys, this has been Ben from The Virtual Economist, and thanks for watching. Wait, you thought I would actually upload a 3-minute video? When have I ever done that before? Like, is that even possible? Okay, well, I guess I did it like once or twice at the beginning, but like, who watches those videos anyway? Before I go, I do actually have one more thing I want to talk about. By now, you probably know why I love the TF2 weapon system so much. But what weapons do I love the absolute most? And what do these amazing weapons do that no other weapons can? Let's take a look. I think that the absolute best weapons in TF2 look a little bit further than just messing with damage and clip size. I think the best weapons single-handedly transform a class into an entirely new playstyle, and this might just mean chucking the stock weapon base stats right out of the window and starting with new ones. A weapon like this would be, well, not a weapon, but a shield like the Charging Targe. Let's read what it does. When looking at the weapon, you can tell that it has a plus 50% fire damage resistance on the wearer, as well as a plus 30% explosive damage resistance. And the weapon also gives you the ability to charge forwards. Now, when you look at it, you might think, well, where is the downside? I mean, I can't find any red text. So, holy crap, is this a strict upgrade? Because strict upgrades would be completely against Valve's rules of weapon design. There just cannot be any. But once you equip the shield, the downsides are actually quite clear. It takes the place of your sticky bomb launcher. Here, the weapon isn't actually nerfing or buffing the stats of the sticky bomb launcher, it is just completely chucking them out the window and replacing them with the upsides of a shield. The weapon doesn't technically break Valve's strict upgrade rule because the downside is the loss of the important asset of the sticky bomb launcher. So cool, you have an awesome new experience for demo players. The shield's charge single-handedly creates a new playstyle for the demo man, emphasizing a more aggressive use of the melee weapon. But on the flip side, balancing a weapon like the charging charge can be tricky from a game designer's perspective, because there's no easy way to compare the lack of a damage source to the upsides of a shield, like you may be able to compare the damage to the clip size of a same weapon. This is likely why there are so few weapons in the game like the charging charge. They're just very tricky to balance correctly because they deviate too far from the norm. But that's why these types of weapons are so awesome to me. They're not just like changing the projectile speed of a stock weapon, they're completely changing the nature of a class, and make it so that there may as well be more than 9 classes. That's pretty darn awesome. I think one of my favorite weapons of all time might just be the Gunslinger, and I think it is a great example of this phenomena. Let's look at the stats. Okay, so for the upsides, the Gunslinger gives you a plus 25 max health on the wearer, as well as a faster sentry build speed. The Gunslinger does actually have a downside. No random critical hits, thank Gaben, and all the sentries are replaced with a mini sentry. Like the charging charge, the weapon chucks out the base stats and replaces them with almost brand new ones from the Gunslinger. However, I think the stats are worded horribly because the upside to this weapon is a mini sentry. Sure, the downside is losing your normal sentry, but the upside of having a small and fast building one is just so much better. The mini sentry is so great in and of itself just because it suddenly allows the engineer to play offense, something that the Engie is never supposed to do. And the Gunslinger becomes a breath of fresh air to all those scrubs building on last every game and promotes going out there and getting into the fight and just having a great time. And that's why I think that the best weapons are the ones that deviate far from the norm and present something amazing and unexpected. I really do think that the Gunslinger makes the most out of chucking out the base stats and making a whole new strategy for the engineer. And as you would expect, a weapon like the Gunslinger adheres very well to my 2 reasons why TF2 weapons are awesome. The Gunslinger, 1, transforms the playstyle of the Engie, and 2, can be used in scenarios where it is awesome, while also having times where it is terrible. So I think it can be pretty justified why I like the weapon so much. While there are a lot of weapons in the game already, there is still a ton of design space for new weapons like the charging charge or the Gunslinger. And if there's anything I would love for being in the next TF2 update, it would be new weapons. And I know Valve is working hard at balancing the current arsenal, but if anything would make TF2 fresh as it could possibly be, I think new weapons would be the way to go. Because the weapon system, before almost anything else, is what keeps people jumping into a pub and playing time and time again. Anyway guys, this has been Ben from The Virtual Economist, and legit this time, thanks for watching.